The most common RFE that we will get this season is specialty occupation, which means that if USCIS is not certain of whether your position requires a bachelor's degree in a specific field, they will send out an RFE asking you to prove that your job is a specialty occupation. The USCIS has narrowed down its interpretation of what qualifies for a specialty occupation in many instances. They have said that if more than one degree is required, for example, if, say a data engineer requires a bachelor's in math, statistics, engineering, computer science, then they might say that, these are all fields that are not related. Therefore, it may not be a specialty occupation. So we have to be careful when we decide on the job title, and also we have to be careful in our job description. No matter what the job title says, the job description has to clearly mention what the duties are, so that they actually look at the duties. So if they see that duties are administrative and not complex enough to require a bachelor's degree, even if you put a software engineer title there, which is recognized as specialty occupation by USCIS, looking at the duties, if they're not written properly, framed properly, then they might still deny the case. So make sure you put in those duties which shows complex job requirements, and also make sure you decide the job title wisely. And when you're when your employer is writing the petitioner letter, make sure that they put in, a bachelor's degree in a specific field is required, not, putting 10 different fields out there. So they shouldn't say engineering, computer science, math, physics, science, they should just say computer science if it's an IT position. So that's extremely important. The other reason, as I was saying previously, would have been availability of work. They're not asking that so much, but I would caution those filing a H-1B petition to ensure that there is sufficient work available for your employee before you file a H-1, because they might ask it, and also it's required. It's a law. You can't file a H-1 based on speculative employment, which means that you can't say that, okay, once he comes to the country on a H-1, or once he changes and gets on my payroll, that's when I'm going to start looking for work for him. So that doesn't work. So just make sure you don't do that. Beneficiaries qualifications, of course, I mentioned that you have to have a bachelor's in the specific field. So in that particular area that you're doing your job, again, give the example of the software engineer, you have to have a bachelor's degree in computer science. If you don't, then a closely related field such as information systems, information management, software engineering, etc., management, information systems, MIS. If you do not, say you have a bachelor's degree in electronics engineering, you could also then get an evaluation done showing that you have the equivalent of a degree in computer science. Equivalencies are done by getting a work experience evaluation done by an evaluation company. They will combine your education and 3 years of work experience, and they will determine that you have the equivalent of a degree in computer science. Another reason why you could get an RFE, and therefore you should be careful while filing the petition, is maintenance of status. If you're on an F1 especially, or any other status, and you're changing status from an F1 to H1, H4 to H1, maybe B1 to H1, you have to make sure that you are in status. You have to make sure that you submit all the documentation showing that you're in status with the initial filing of the H1. So all your I-94s, and if you're on a H4, then your spouse's H1 approval, your spouse's pay stubs to show that they're in status. This is what's required if you're filing for a change of status from a H4 to a H1. For an F1, again, there's a different set of documents required. You have to submit your I-20. You have to submit proof that you're presently in school, and that you're in good standing, maybe a letter from your school, proof that you've paid all your tuition fees. If you are on a CPT, then you might want to present documentation showing that your school required you to be on a CPT, especially if you took a day one CPT that your school required you to take a day one CPT because it was part of your coursework, especially if you're doing an executive MBA type degree where course or where actual work is, given credits as part of coursework. So maintenance of status is a big issue, especially for people who are on an F1. Availability of work, as I said, again, this is if you have work within your company, then you have to show that, and if you're not working for a third party, then you have to just show that your company has sufficient business. So you would show maybe the financial documents of your company, like the tax returns to show the volume of your business, maybe your active contracts. You would show that you have a premises where work will be performed, so a copy of the lease. They don't like companies that have only virtual offices. Keep that in mind. They need an actual physical brick and mortar office because there are a lot of posting requirements that have to be done. The LC has to be posted, and files have to be maintained. If audits happen, they have to have some place that they can come to, visit the office and see the files. So important to have a physical location. Don't forget to subscribe to our videos if you like what you see. Also give us a thumbs up and share the video with your family and friends. Thank you.